Dear friends, distinguished poets, poetry lovers, and honored guests, Namaste and a very warm welcome to all of you. You are cordially invited to this beautiful gathering of hearts verses of Asian Literary Society, where we are celebrating World Poetry Day with our special program, Soul Stanzas. Today on this enchanting evening dedicated to the magic of poetry, we come together to listen, feel and celebrate the power of words that touch our souls. It is my absolute pleasure and privilege to introduce our distinguished participant poets for this celebration. Before that, I would like to share today's session on the LS Facebook group. Just give me a minute. So, our one guest, Laksmisree Banerjee, is trying to join. So, once she will join, we'll pull her into this session. So just give me a second. I'm sharing this on our ALS Facebook group. Yeah, so this has been shared there. And now it's time to introduce our distinguished guest. But before that, let me see if Lakshmi Banerjee has joined. Yeah, okay. Once she will join, we'll add her into the studio. So So first of all, I would like to warmly welcome Dr. Molly Joseph from Kerala, a distinguished professor, bilingual poet, and prolific author. With a doctorate in post-war American poetry and more than 25 books published, including poetry, travelogue, short stories, and children's literature, Dr. Molly's verses reflect wisdom, sensitivity, and deep love for life. Welcome, Dr. Molly Joseph ji, in today's session.
Great.
Now, I would
Greetings.
like to, yeah,
Yeah.
welcome, ma'am. Now, I'd like to introduce Vandana Bhasinji. Vandana Bhasin is an accomplished author, poet, artist, life coach, and former banker. Through her poetry and her work with verses and hues, Vandana beautifully blends words with colors, exploring themes of spirituality, self-discovery, gratitude, and inner peace. Welcome, Vandana.
Thank you,
So,
Manoj.
yeah. Now I would like to introduce very talented Komal Gupta ji, an award-winning poetess, author, creative strategist, and literary advocate. Writing under the pen name Tejaswini Aura, Komal has gifted us soulful collections like Voices of Time and Absolute Words and Moonflowers. Her poetry carries the freshness of emotion and strength of lived experience. Welcome, Komal ji.
Thank you so much, Manoj.
And we'll wait for Laksmisree Banerjee. Once she will come, we'll introduce her. And in meantime, I'll start with Molly Joseph ji. So my first question for you is: having written across different genres like poetry, short stories, travelogues, and children's literature, how does poetry uniquely allow you to express what other forms cannot?
It's a very good question, dear Manoj. First and foremost, my greetings to all of you, the listeners. The the question, as I said, is very pertinent because as a writer, you can address the people, the reality around you in different ways. Short stories I do write, I did novels, I do reviews, I share my opinion on so many things, whatever. But poetry is a kind of a world where you feel within the condensed lines, you can connote a lot. You can, from the with the minimal, you can suggest the maximal. Especially when I did my, doctoral work on post-war American poetry. I was doing it with William Carlos Williams. Actually, when I was going deep into that period, poetry was just verging on real painting itself, because close approximation to reality you give and you leave it to the reader. Meanings evolve, just like Pablo Picasso practicing cubism through different perspectives, and the reader or the viewer gets the whole picture. I think there is a bit of an echo coming. Hope I'm audible enough. So I believe, especially in these times when we are so much chasing time, we have no time for anything. A medium like poetry can easily take to people, appeal to their hearts, can be emotive and also intellectually elevating. So I believe the right medium when I feel like writing is taking up the genre of poetry. And they say I have that way of flowing type of reality through my short diction. It was a kind of an innovative thing because I believe every poet has to renew himself, adapting oneself to the age you live in, to the reality you address. So it has been enormous satisfaction as a poet rather than as a storyteller. You can go on narrating, yes, you are taxing the patience or holding up the suspense, whatever. Evolution of thought, everything is there. Of course, I am not denouncing their importance, but the thing is, poetry gives me the scope to do the maximal with the minimal, evoking images, instilling thoughts. I hope I have answered your question, Manoj.
Yeah, indeed, ma'am. You have rightly said this thing. Thank you so much. And now I would like to move to Vanna Bhasin. Vanna, your work often explores spirituality and self-discovery. How has your journey as a poet and life coach shaped these themes in your poetry?
Thank you, Manoj. First of all, I would like to pay my gratitude to you for involving me on the World Poetry Day. Being a poet, it really, truly means a lot. So, thanks. I'm really glad to be a part of this forum. And I think you really phrased the question very pointedly by involving my, spiritual journey and everything. So the thing is that when we are writing poetry, we are trying to express ourselves, our deepest desires, our expectations, our emotions in very few words. And whenever we are expressing ourselves, we are trying. Our poetry is impacted by our own experiences, our own journeys. So I
Exactly.
started my spiritual journey about 3 years ago, and as I evolved, I think my writing evolved. As I was growing spiritually, intellectually, the same impact was coming in my writing also, and I was able to express myself, whatever I was learning on my path to spirituality, in very few words, in the form of poetry. I think it was like hand in hand kind of a situation where spirituality was driving poetry and
Yeah,
poetry was helping me learn more about spirituality. So it actually
exactly.
did wonders for me.
Yeah.
Very well answered question, Vanna. You have rightly said it, and actually, I had seen your evolution as a writer, and we really admire your spiritual poems. Thank you once again. And now I move to Komal Gupta ji, who is on this platform live after a long time. So, Komal ji, I would like to ask you one question that as a poet who has advocates for literary, sorry, as a poet who has advocates for literature and well-being, what role do you believe poetry plays in promoting mental and wellness, emotional wellness?
Yes, it's a very deep question that you've asked, Manoj, and thank you so much for having me here today. Yes, I've come after a very, very long time. So, well-being and poetry. See, as a human being, we use words, us poets use words to express ourselves on a personal level. And taking into consideration what Dr. Molly and Vanna said, it is a mirror it is spiritual. We use these words to express ourselves. Then it comes to a point where you write words that resonate with you. You think you're alone. And then you forget for a moment that you're part of a collective. The
Yeah.
collective is the world.
Yeah.
You write poems, you share. Diffidently, you share, and it finds resonance somewhere in the world, somewhere in your city, somewhere near you. That is what well being is. That is what healing is. Your words heal. You heal, you soften, and then the world softens with you. That is where poetry comes in. That
Yeah.
is where the healing comes in. It is a mirror. It is a beautiful mirror. We look at each other. We
Yeah.
look into the mirror and see our reflections in others, and we know that we are not alone. So, this makes us a community. This makes us heal, and this makes poetry beautiful. So, today on World Poetry Day, it is a pleasure as well as, I think, imperative for us poets to give out this message that we are not alone. Our words heal, so let's use them, let's share them. So I hope that
Yeah.
is enough,
Yeah, you
because
have,
it
yeah.
becomes very emotional as a poet to go on. So you stop and you just write.
Yeah.
Very beautifully answered this thing, and actually you also mentioned the true essence of being poet and what he can do for the society also. Everything is was captured in your reply. Thank you so much, Komalji. And now we'll go for the second round of question, and after that I'm quite curious to know which poems you have picked for today's World Poetry Day. So my next question is for Molly Joseph, ma'am. So since you are a prolific writer, you have been writing for so many years, and on this World Poetry Day, what message would you like to give to the aspiring and emerging writers?
Thank you for this opportunity, Manoj. Actually, I already pointed out my poetics, I would call it my poetics, is tends to be, I mean, relating not alone to my own feelings, but the kind of, as I said, addressing the reality around. So I was teaching the youth in a college, engineering students. I was conducting TED Talks, brainstorming, everything happening. Later, I thought I should address children. So I started talking in their language because I was so much bothered about what little I could do to the world around in bringing about a kind of what do you call balance in attitude, acceptance, accommodation. So to the emerging writers of this period, when you are so much exposed to technology, because AI is at your fingertip, so many possibilities, potential possibilities. I'm not against technological growth, but the innate self in you, the innate creativity in you should spark up with that kind of enlightened way of thinking, that I am here with a purpose to do something good to the world around. I can make it better by showing or sharing or radiating my piece of the sky, my attitude to life. Because these days, everywhere, when I'm not blaming youngsters, even elders are also like that. When you write, you simply want to go for recognition, you suddenly want to be in the limelight. No, when you share your thoughts, as Komal said, you know, you are getting yourself that feeling, that inner satisfaction, that healing. And the healing takes place around. Dear young budding writers, you see what a complicated world we are getting into. Wars on one side, man cocooning oneself with the help of AI, everything, as if he is a segregate, separate island by himself. No, we are the ones to break the walls and then bring in a kind of world where every kind of breeze is let in. We remove all the rigid mindsets and we write about softness, love, kindness, understanding. And keep on writing. Keep on writing with the feel. Intensely, you feel an emotional thing. Yes, you write it out. But when the personal becomes a political, becomes a general thing, universal, the other person also experiences it and gets healed, gets enlightened. So you are the authors of your own destiny, my dear young poets. We are carving out our our vision, sharing it with others to make the world a beautiful place, a brave new world. Because the future is in your hands, my dear young writers. You are the molders of posterity. What the world should look like. We don't want a world walled up. We don't want the kind of fights and wars. No. Above all this, we have to work out a union of hearts and where the mind grows co-extensive with the universe, accommodating everything. Nature comes into your purview because we take care of nature. Otherwise, what is there in store for your next generation? The Gen Z, not that after that. So, the kind of vital role we have, because we have the power of the pen with us. The pen is mightier than the sword, and thoughtscapes can be chiseled out through your fine poems. So you are of great promise. We find the future in your hands, dear young writers.
Ma'am,
Write.
really, I
Write.
hope your words will inspire all new writers, emerging writers, aspiring writers, as well as all those who have stopped writing, for a long time. So definitely your message is quite important for all our community members. Thank you once again, ma'am. And
Thank you, Manoj. Thank you.
my next question is to Vanna ji. Vanna, in this today's fast-paced world, how can poetry become a tool for healing and inner peace?
So, taking a cue from what Komal said, I think about emotions and how to express them. I think first of all we need to understand that today's generation in this fast-paced world is more stressed than we used to be in our age. They have an overload of information coming from everywhere. They are facing a lot of expectations. They have to compete with not only humans but computers also now, AI also.
Exactly.
So I think their stress levels and their need for expression is much higher than it was in our time. So in our times, we used to live in joint families. We would express in some way or the other. But now, since we are living very distant lives, even the friends are, over social media only. We rarely, this generation rarely meets in physical meetups. So I think herein the role of poetry is much, much more than it used to be even earlier. सो पहले पोएट्री यूज करी थी हमने इंडिपेंडेंस के टाइम पे टू evoke the feeling of patriotism in people, and now I think poetry is needed to heal the wounds, because there when we are expressing ourselves regularly, whether it is through the medium of writing or any other creative mode of expression, then we are not allowing ourselves to let that hurt or pain or resentment take place in our body, or completely overpower our body. So I think if we are regularly able to express ourselves, and poetry is very cathartic, very, very cathartic. Writing is very cathartic, it is therapeutic. We all are writers and we all can agree to this fact that if you are not in the right frame of mind, if you have some anger, some resentment towards anyone, and if you are able to write it down in your words, you immediately feel relief. It's like an instant cure, for all your mental issues and your deep down worries. It helps you to rise above your fears. When you are writing about your fears, then at least you will have a list down of okay, this is all I'm afraid of, I need to work on it. So I think poetry is more like journalism. People maintain their journal. Similarly, if you are able to express yourself more in the form of very short words, very few words, which are able to uh, deeply, express yourself, in which you are able to list down your internal desires, there is nothing more than that. I think it's very, very healing. एंड आई वुड लाइक टू कोट वन, हिंदी में है ये, दो लाइनें मैं शेयर करना चाहूंगी। खरबंदा साहब हैं, उनकी लाइन है कि शायरी है सरमाया खुश नसीब लोगों का, शायरी है सरमाया खुश नसीब लोगों का, पेड़ की हर शाखा बांसुरी नहीं होती। So basically, what he's trying to say is that every person cannot be a poet, but there is, you have to dig down the poetry. So जो लोग express कर पाते हैं in the form of poetry, I think they are blessed, and it is, I would say, a shout out for everyone who's a poet, and it is a request for all the young poets, like Molly Ma'am said, to come out to actually spend some time on honing their skill as a poet, to express themselves and get onto that journey of inner healing.
You rightly said, Vandana, and I agree with you that poetry brings cathartic experience in your life, and also in today's world, which is very individualistic. Poetry or even any kind of literature keeps you engaged. So once you are very much engaged, at that time you will also be, keeping yourself away from some sadness or depression. So it is also kind of a self-healing tool in this aspect also. Thank you so much, Vandana, and my next question.
I would just like to add one little thing, कि अभी रील्स का जमाना चल रहा है हमारा, जिसमें बड़ी शॉर्ट टाइम स्पैन और शॉर्ट अटेंशन स्पैन है। तो अगर मैं 2 पेज का स्टोरी लिखूंगी तो शायद कोई नहीं पढ़ेगा, लेकिन अगर मैं 4 लाइन में वही एक्सप्रेस कर दूंगी इन द फॉर्म ऑफ अ पोएम, आई थिंक दैट विल बी मच मोर इफेक्टिव।
Yeah, I
थैंक यू।
agree. So, so now I would like to ask my next question to Komalji. What inspires you the most while writing? A particular emotion, memory, or moment in nature? Over to
That's a very thoughtful. Yeah, that's a very thoughtful question, Manoj. Inspiration, I think, as poets, as Vandana rightly said, we are blessed that we can write. Not everybody can write. I think we are very self aware. We are very in tune with our environments, very in tune with the moments. Emotions, yes, most of the time. Emotions do make you write when you're overwhelmed, you're sad, you're happy, you write. But I think it's mostly, as poets, we look at the in between moments of time when nothing happens, yet everything happens for us. We are sensitive. Mostly, we are all very sensitive, we just don't show it. We have facades put up. So, those in between moments inspire me. I can even observe other people. No, as a poet, you're very self aware, you know what's going on. And that inspires you. Maybe this could have been done, maybe I should have done this, or they could have done that. And that becomes a poem. That becomes reflection, that becomes healing, that becomes inspiration. So it's a very quiet, very loud world inside of us. That is the inspiration. And it's all around. So I've written a quote about writing poetry is conjuring words out of the nothingness that we are surrounded in. This whole space is nothingness, yet filled with everythingness. And we are the somebody in it. That is the inspiration. That is
wow,
time.
yeah.
That is you. That is me. That is inspiration. So, emotions, a moment in time, that's what inspires. We are too aware, we are too self aware, and that's a blessing as well as a curse, also. But let's make the most use of it. That's it.
Very
Thank you.
nicely said, Komalji. Now I know why your poems are so, engrossing, thoughtful, and heart-touching. So, without any delay, I'm
Thank you.
actually waiting for the next segment. That is the poetry. I know all of you are such a nice poets. So, now we'll start with Komalji. So first poem the Komalji, next Vandana, and then Molly ma'am. So just reverse of the question round. So over to Komalji. Now we are looking forward to hear one of your poem.
All right. Um, I will. I can read two poems side by side. It's okay.
Ah, yeah,
Yeah.
you
We go
can.
one by one. All
Whatever
right.
is you are
So,
comfortable with.
all right. So, as a poet, my definition of a poet on World Poetry Day. This I've written a very long time ago. So, here goes. A syllable defined being. I am a syllable letter defined being. Words course in my veins. I play tic tac toe with lines, getting crossed out from time to time with words saving the day. This is a definition of what I feel a poet is. So these are ladders in life's Ludo game. I have become a Scrabble scroller, meaning and definition never ever the same. Dices are rolling, double sixes. Second chances are the norm. For am I right or wrong doesn't matter. A poet, that's me, a syllable letter defined being writing a happy song. So I have written this poem. It's more like tic tac toe. You cross out some words, you get crossed out yourself, and the end result is a poem. So that's what I've tried to define myself as a poet. And then as a poet, Manoj, I'm on to the next
Sure.
poem. We walk the lines. The lines carry the words, the weight of the words, the weight of our words on the words. So here I am. I walk the lines, words write themselves. Letters scramble in haste, for out of nowhere, flights of fancy take root. Fingers type away, never knowing the way. I walk the lines, much like a crusader, in tandem with this crazy heart of mine. I walk the lines, one poem at a time, a rhyme, a rhythm to start, maybe to pave a new path. I walk the lines, moody, scattered, far left behind. I walk the lines into quicksands of love and hate. I walk the lines, all put together, yet not so. Who will ever know? I measure my steps with care, because all in love and war is fair. I walk the lines, knife edged on tenter hooks, with nowhere to look. I walk the lines into parallel times. I walk the lines. I walk the lines. So, while ending these two poems, I would just like to say we walk the lines, we walk on time, we walk with the weight of the world and the words on us. So, let's make the most of it. Let's evolve, let's learn, let's share, and let's heal. Thank you so much.
A very intriguing poem and such a beautiful thoughts were imbibed in your this poetry. And I was actually quite engrossed when you were saying the repetition of "I walk the line" was quite what to say. It was quite impressive. So we really enjoyed your both poems, Komalji. Thank you so much. Now over to Vandana, and why not you also read your both poems together, Vandana?
Wonderful poems, Komal. Very deep and very thoughtful. Loved it. Thank you, Manoj. Thank you for allowing me to read my poems. So, since it's World Poetry Day, so an ode to poetry is must. So, I'm gonna read a poem that I had written very long back, almost like 6 years ago, 2020 में लिखा था. But आज जब when I was searching for something which is an ode to poetry, तो बहुत सारी poems आई, but somehow I wanted to read this one. So it's titled "Who Propels My Poetry." Poetry? Nah, I'd never dreamt of writing. Until a chance discovery, I think I would call it, the day I quilled the first few verses. The picture of a young girl dancing breezily, wings of freedom, was all I could see. And that's how I stepped into the world of poetry. Words of acumen by men of great feet stimulate my brain, prompting me to trace my questions and notions, my whining and musings. Be it Maya Angelou or Oprah Winfrey, Khalil Gibran or Paulo Coelho, Vivekananda or Buddhist teachings. The marvels of nature hold me in awe. I drift to a magical word as I soak my pen in these. Oceans and hills, valleys and beaches, sun kissed flowers and rain soaked trees embellish my blank sheet miraculously as I turn into a poet to spell my experiences. Emily Dickinson? Ah, she never fails to inspire me. Shakespeare? Oh, yes, I admire him. I'm an aficionado of Hindi and Urdu poetry. Gulzar, Ghalib, Javed Akhtar, or Mir. The way it touches the soul, it moves me to the core and then springs the desire to word what I feel. Well, how can I not credit my poetic fraternity, who inspires every moment with its emphatic verses, the challenging prompts, the incessant calls to writing, the various poetic forms, the unlimited resources, as I take cognizance of mundane and extraordinary to forage my unrelenting urge to learning. Poetry is everywhere, I strongly believe. In laughter, in tears, in friends and fears. Emotions often coerce me to voice my beliefs. Love instills a feeling that warrants poetry. Sometimes it's a desire to attest to the world that I do exist. Don't overlook my identity. But no matter what I write or who inspires me to write, it is for me myself that I indulge in poetry. It is for me myself that I indulge in poetry.
What a beautiful ode to poetry on this occasion of World Poetry Day, and I'm very glad that you chose this poem. And also, I like that thing that poetry is everywhere, be it happiness or tears, but we
Yeah,
need one special eyes of vision to actually feel it. Thank you so much for this poem, Vandana, and could you please go ahead with your next poem?
yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Manoj. So, next poem I'm going to read from my book, The Gift of Self. And this poem is titled Walk Alone, My Dear, Walk Alone. The world around me was enveloped in darkness, though the glitterati of stars shone high above. An ounce of light I sought from the stars, enough to walk me through my path, but the universe had its own plans. Alone you had walked into this world, alone you shall discover what you seek. You have all the answers inside your heart. Just find your light and walk that path, reminded I was by the universe. A journey to the self I set my foot on. In silence, I foraged deep into my heart, absorbing all the darkness that had engulfed my soul, practicing perseverance, the art of letting go, for ephemeral relations are, and attachment being the foe. Sharing expectations from those who I love, walk alone being the mantra, the pain, the guilt vanished from my heart. For light it became that healed every part. I was my soulmate, awakened I was. Love was what I sought all along, while my own heart was flowing with love. To me, myself, I had failed to soak in. I unheeded the universe that flowed within. Why was I enthralled with this materialistic world? I was groping in the darkness all along, while the sun was gleaming all night long. I continued probing the essence of life, losing sight of the blessing that life itself was. I now seek to follow my footsteps. I now seek to be my own universe. I now seek to be my own universe.
Very
Thank
point poem. It is Vannadi. First of all, a bit round of clap for it, and I
you.
like that ephemeral relations is basically always think that our relationships are for permanent. So most of these things are actually associated with it only. So once we understand that every relationship is also having one duration timeline, so
True.
probably we'll not have that much problems in our life. Thanks again. Your both poems are very nice,
Thank you,
and now
Manoj.
it's time. Now it's time to read. Now it's time to go to Dr. Mori Joseph, ma'am, and Ma'am, could you start your poems, please? Yeah, you are now
Yes,
you have now unmuted yourself. Yeah, yeah, please.
yeah. We were into those very, very deep but so beautifully woven poems of Komalji and Vandanaji. Wonderful. We were, in fact, transported into those worlds. It is the inscape of a poet that comes out through the poem. And then it is the worldscape that opens up. Let me, today being World Poetry Day, let me recite you a poem on the importance of being a poet. Many a time I thank God, Lord, you gave me the kind of that ink and my pen to jot down the pulsating presence of my being here on earth. What exactly is poetry to me? It comes in these lines. Unbound, when the demure morns peep through the misty sheaves of clouds, lo, the poet is awake, sensing the sight with the sound. He sees, he listens. The delicate murmur of a bud blossoming, to the benign sunlight, the flicker of nascent birdlings cuddling onto cozy nets of straw, the frisons of windy ripples on waters serene. Poetry flows. The icicle forming an iceberg huge, the single silver line flowing into sea, cascading through the interstices of minds. Yes. Of love, kindness, care for all. What borders can wall it in or out? In the thresh floor of the present, poetry gathers, churns memories past, its medleys of aches and shakes, sweeping across to shores eternal. Poetry flows, defying borders. Only the poet can hold the setting sun in his palms and whisper, no, you are not done with, O sun. There, beyond the seas, is your bed of rest. Come back fresh next morn for your wondrous best. Ah, all a continuum. No begins, no ends.
Molly, ma'am, I would like to say that what a beautiful, vivid, imaginary world you have created of a flowing river and the everything that you have painted around for the poetry. It reminded me of your very famous poems when Cicada, sings in mirth. Where also you have made a similar type of created a very beautiful world. So the poem was indeed very good, and thanks for sharing it. We really enjoyed it. Now we would humbly
Thank
request
you.
you to please read one more poem.
Yeah.
So
You
even
need,
our audience
you
is really,
want to hear it again, cicadas. I can read it for you, or otherwise there is another poem.
yeah,
Let cicadas.
even our Anil Kumar Srivastav is saying a beautiful poem recitation
Uh,
to you. And yeah,
cicadas. Yeah.
yeah, please read your Cicada when sings in mirth.
Okay, because that was a momentous step in my life with our dear Manoj inviting me, actually guiding me, inspiring me into this fold of the rich fold of Asian Literary Society. Else, I was just a bud, tiny bud, but Manoj helped me blossom. That is my
Oh,
first step. And they gave me a Wordsmith Award, the first ever award. Here comes the poem. Where cicadas sing in mirth, the exploding sound of distant shot reverberates. I shudder. Where is my legitimate share of peace? To live a life without fear, to pray, to watch a movie, or just go on with my own pace of living. When the world is torn between divided ends and money power, muscle power dominates between nations, religions, races. When people run roughshod over each other, when a blind cult can put to risk the calm flow of life and pounds upon the innocent, when wanton destruction becomes the order of the day, where is the average man's legitimate share of peace? What good with all our progress, conquering space and time, soaring heights of technical skill with gadgets and fingertips? Isn't it retrogression when essential values are lost and we do not care for each other but breed hate? Life pulsates in fear of a blast, a flood, or quake. We live in uncertain times when nature even retaliates. Unless we awaken, holding hands together to build a world anew, where love fills up hearts to overflow with kindness and care for all, and our valleys turn green with cicadas singing in mirth. Thank you. Thank
what a
you so much.
powerful rendition it was, ma'am. And really, I got the goosebump after many years. I again got opportunity to hear this poem. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for reading it for us. And
Thank
now
you.
we all have our for two rounds of poems. So today is World Poetry Day, and being a poet, I would also not like to miss today's opportunity. So I'll quickly read my one poem, and then
Maybe.
after that, I'll ask a last note from you all before concluding today's session. So
Yeah.
the poem that I impromptu pick now is the realm of relationships. When I wade into the realm of relationships, my feet are pulled by the marsh clung to it, and I push my feet with full valor but fear, as my voice is contained in my heart's case. That rebel, but doesn't dare to confront my kin, that yells, but the pain just resonates within. In this maze of relations, I have lost myself. On each turn, I adjust the layers on my face. As I know, my voice will be seen as contempt. All desires would succumb in front of them. I no longer desire freedom from this realm. I have learned that dreams often envelop pain. Sometimes these fake relationships soothe me. Even though they are delusive, it amuses me. Beyond this realm, a dark, white forest exists, where strangers are waiting to pounce on me. Better to be hunted by my own kin than strangers. I chose between two worst. What was better? From the realm of relations, when I behold life, I find melancholy sky waiting for the twilight. Thank you. So I'm done with my poem. And
Yeah.
now over to Komalji.
Thank
Any last piece of message you want to share to our community on this great occasion of World Poetry Day?
Yes, I would like to share that today on World Poetry Day, in this program, we have covered spirituality, we've covered peace, we've covered relationships, we've covered AI even and how it affects us. So the message that I would like to share is, let's make peace with our words, make peace with our presence, and use that, all that, the technological advancement that's happening for good. Like
Yeah.
Dr. Molly Joseph made a clarion call towards the young poets. Vandana made a call for the spirituality, the writing down
Spirituality.
of what we feel. And Manoj, you hit the crux of everything with your poem on relationships.
Yeah.
Relationships envelop us. So let's
Yeah.
use our gifts of words towards peace on World Poetry Day. Let's make that pledge. And thank you so much for having me and for sharing these beautiful words. I leave this platform inspired and so much at peace when I know that so much of good is being done. Thank you so much.
Pleasure is all ours, Komalji, and we really are thankful that you graced today's this poetry meet, and we really loved your poems, and most importantly, the manner with the poems that you were saying everything, it actually impressed me a lot. Thanks again, and it was wonderful to hear you after such a
Thank you.
long time again. So now to Vannaji,
Thank you.
any message you would like to share to our community? In the yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Manoj. I think Komal covered it very beautifully. But I have two, 3 points that I would like to share. First of all, thanks to you for building up this community and keeping it alive with your enthusiasm, with your energy, and
Thank you.
making even the aspiring people a part of this journey. I think a lot of us in the ALS community always come and say that Manoj gave us this opportunity. So I think kudos to you for doing this job. And I would really like to congratulate all the ALS members who are, actually take out the time to write to the prompts, to keep, churning their poems and, keep posting their words. So to that end, I'm being a little selfish here. Next month we are starting Napurimo. So from 1st April to 30th April. So I would like to invite all the ALS members to please, sharpen their pencils, coffee cup का stock, coffee का, चाय का stock इकट्ठा कर लीजिए, सब कुछ snacks, and just get to writing for 30 days. It's going to be a beautiful journey. We assure you of that. There will be a lot of good prompts. There will be a lot of motivation. And secondly, it's a request to all the writers all across. Currently, I've been very, deeply saddened to see that even very prolific writers are using AI to generate content. And it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right. So I personally feel that as writers, it is our responsibility to not resort to plagiarism, to not resort to AI for at least generating content. You may use it to seek help, you may use it to generate prompts, you may use it to take the tips, but please don't let your creativity die because something is easily available. So that's a humble request from me as a writer on the World Poetry Day. And thank you, Manoj. It was very lovely listening to Molly ma'am after a very long time. It was wonderful listening
Thank
to
you.
Komal
Thank you.
after ages. And Manoj, आपकी poetry तो हमेशा ही it's spot on kind of a thing. So I really enjoyed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vannaji, and it is very important for you. Rightly, actually, talked about the AI. You can use the tools, but please continue to use your originality. Otherwise, there is no sense of continuing with the passion. And now this Napolimo is about to start. We expect that because we have also very bird's eye. We know what is the original content and what is kind of the copied or AI generated. If we are not saying anything, it doesn't mean that we do not know, but we want you to write and please proceed with your originality. Sooner or later you will become very good writer, just believe in me. So and one more thing actually was in my mind prior to this AI thing, that any community doesn't run with one person. So because of the support of all the people and also like Anita Jibanna, we are buzzing and we have so many dedicated members. So now Naporimo is about to come. Please participate in it, wholeheartedly. And today I saw 10 days is about to go. I quickly like that post because I'm also eagerly waiting, and I'm little selfish. I want to know what kind of prompts are coming so that I will prepare in advance. So I have got the list of the topics. So so every time I used to just focus on the banners, but this time might be I will see what are the topics. So jokes apart, thank you so much, Vandana, for making today, for taking out time for from your busy schedule for today's session. And last but not least, to Dr. Molly Joseph ji, please, what's the final word would you like to share with our committee members for today's session?
Thank you, Manoj. It was indeed a very fulfilling session we had today, and kudos to ALS for conducting such a meaningful, touching, and thoughtful kind of session today on World Poetry Day. Because we were listening to two people, creative people, and Manoj himself, the great catalyzer, stirring people into real dimensions of creativity. We missed our Laksmisree, what to say, some technical problems.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this one was great, this mate. And I would say, what to say, I have already said my message in the first answer of your question. Today, as writers, as poets, the two, three lines I summed up when I used to refer to myself as a poetess. Life touches. We script it out slowly, subtly, becoming everyone, everything. That was my definition of poetry. Slowly, subtly, becoming everyone, everything. We can see the flip side of things. We can have accommodation, we can have compassion, we can have understanding. And we are gifted with it, that rare gift, the poet, the
Your
bard.
words, yeah, your words, ma'am, has always inspired us, and we can't wait more to meet you in person. Do plan to come to Delhi to grace our events. It has been long time to meet you, and your both
Yeah.
poems are very good. Especially, you also know that Cicadas in Mirth is my all-time favorite. So thank you for reading it. And also, I would like to quickly mention many of the participants who have been, watching it. Sincerely and giving good comments be the Anil Kumar sir, Shilpa Chakravarti, Ashok Kumar ji, Divya Rajesh, Priyanka Chaturvedi, Pinka Priyadarshini ji, Divya Rajesh, Shilpa Chakravarti, Devjit Chanda, Divya Rajesh, and many more. Thank you to all of you for taking out your time and watching this beautiful evening in the name of verse. And you have also got the good words or message by all our eminent participants, and I would like to quickly say a word of thanks to all of you. And first of all, thanks to Vandana ji, Komal, and Molly Joseph ma'am. Laksmisree Banerjee couldn't join because of some technical issue on her side. We really missed her. So we look forward to meet her again in future, and also look forward for these enriching readings and insightful conversations that surely leave us with fuller hearts and brighter souls. And many of the people have asked in comment that can they also participate. Yeah, definitely keep writing on our on our platform, and whenever we do plan in future, we'll definitely bring our regular contributors. Because of the paucity of time, we cannot do a lot of sessions now, but definitely if you are quite active on our platform, we will definitely give you an opportunity. So thanks again to all of you, and with this I would like to conclude today's session. Goodbye to everyone. Bye. Thank you so much to all of you.
Thank you, Manoj.
Thank you, Manoj.